Something you've learned along the way is that it's better the journey with a friend. What's going on, everyone? It's Loki Orn, and we're back at it with a named formation run here, but we've got two special things about this one. First, this isn't actually a formal named formation. This is a custom team name that was developed by me with the help of Mogwellian, one of my subscribers, who requested a formation that had the Runaway, the Plague Doctor, the Grave Robber, and the Vestal. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, there isn't actually a formation that has all four of those characters. So, this is Mog's Angels. Along with that, joining me on this run is Rowan, who's been on the channel before. Rowan is the one recording the footage. I'm riding along on Discord, and we're going to tag team this run. Finally, this is being done on the Coming in Hot beta branch, where they are testing out just a huge variety of changes, so many that there's almost no way to realistically go through patch notes. So instead, we sort of learn by doing. There will be timestamps in the description to skip over the lengthy discussion part and get right into the action. But that's enough of me. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the run. All right, everyone, we're into it. As the little recap at the beginning should have told you, this is a duo run, so everyone say hello to Rowan. Rowan, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. How are we? Long time no see.
Yeah, it has been a long time since we did a duo run, and hopefully we'll get a couple of these knocked out this weekend. So we're starting up a new run here on Denial, but the big thing is we're playing it on the Coming in Hot patch. So this is the testing environment that Red Hook had made available, and they are doing just so many changes. So many changes. So
yeah,
we're not.
it's been insane. We were saying earlier how neither of us have tried this patch yet, and in my case, it's just been interesting following the progress of it. I think we're into week 5 or week 6 at the moment.
Yeah, I think week 5 is out, and the list of changes is so long that I haven't even been bothering to read because I'm just going to wait for the final version and then figure out what they do then. I think it's awesome that Red Hook is doing this.
Yeah,
But
I love it.
given that I'd have to swap over to the test environment, I decided to just stay on the straight and narrow for now.
Yeah, I'm sacrificial lamb in this instance.
Oh
So,
yeah,
which
you
is fine.
haven't
Yeah,
played
no
it
way.
forever though.
Yeah, well,
You
yeah,
haven't
I
played
know. Honestly, it made me come back. Like, not that I was gone, but you
Yeah.
put games on the back burner, and it was really, really cool seeing just the changes, the kind of community dynamic of things, and it's always nice just seeing a bit more buzz around Darkest Dungeon 2. So, yeah, it's neat. It's nice seeing them kind of go back to those earlier iterations of different heroes and. Just trying to reinvent them a little bit, or like breathe a bit more character into certain paths. I think we'll definitely see today as well, like how much has changed on this 6th week, and if you're watching in the future, which you will be, like it's not going to be the same as what's live for you. It will change. Like they've been very, very mercenary with adding and removing things. So yeah, like a little quirky run, this one.
Yeah, which is why we're doing it on Denial, and we're gonna try out something a little bit goofy or a little bit different. Mogwellian, this run is for you. You asked a while ago about a run that had the Plague Doctor, the Grave Robber, the Vestal, and the Runaway. And I determined that unfortunately there was no formation with these four ladies. So we had to improvise. So I give to you Mog's Angels. Up front, we've got Mogwellian playing as the Vestal. Next up is the Grave Robber, who, Kiryu, I haven't heard from you in a while, but I suspect you're still out there. And I'll never forget that you were one of the first commenters, and your name has always stuck with me, so you get to be the Grave Robber. I, of course, Loki Oren, am the Plague Doctor because she's my girl. And then Rowan gets to be the Runaway because that was what was left.
Singular honor. Thank you. The Runaway's actually been the topic of discussion for the last few weeks for the Coming in Hot patch. She's received quite a lot of changes, so we're probably going to spend a bit of time passing all that. And then
hopefully figuring
same
out
with Plague Doctor.
Yeah, hopefully figuring out what the hell she does now.
Well,
Speaking of,
it includes
let's
burn,
dive
that's for
in.
sure. Yeah, sure
Yeah,
thing.
well, so let's get our skills up. So the big thing, if I remember right, is they were trying to make her hero paths do more stuff. And I think
Yeah.
they've been adjusting how damage over time effects work. So crits no longer generate extra duration, and I think they've been taking that extra duration and baking it into other parts of the kit. Is I think the intent, or at least that's what I remember reading.
I'm nodding in agreement. We don't know. Like
Yeah, we're just gonna have to
we're not gonna
figure it
pull
out.
things up. And same again. Like we don't have any dictic memory of what every single skill dealt. Like for example, Searing Strike. This is different. You know,
Yeah.
on the Wanderer here, we've got more of a stealth theme
Is that the new
around.
icon for stealth? That is the
Yes,
icon for stealth.
new
Okay.
icon for stealth, and a lot of hero-related icons. Okay, I guess this is the same control burn, but you'll see it in 1 second. Not what we're playing today, but if you look at Duelist, you see how the offensive and
Oh.
defensive icons are now blue. It
Okay.
seems like they've tried to make an effort to just standardize tokens a little bit, and
Okay.
where a hero token is involved, it's now blue, which
Gotcha.
yeah, a little bit wild.
Oh, I actually like that change quite a lot, just from a like visibility perspective.
Hmm.
Okay, so the Runaway wants to be in stealth, which isn't hugely different from what she was doing
No,
before.
yeah. So
Ransack is completely unchanged, it looks like.
they are in the middle of a bit of a um,
Whoa,
kind
go
of
back to Cauterize.
yeah, sure thing.
Why did they need to buff Cauterize? Holy shit.
Well, you
That's
know,
just a straight up buff.
I I think it's just a case of they want to give a bit more reliability. I wonder if it was on this one, on one of the paths. No, it
You
must be
changed the
on.
pass on the right side.
No, I know. Sorry, I think it's on Survivor. They have a character buff with well, you know what? Rather than talk about it, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Um,
Allow me to see.
yes.
So fun
Oh
fact,
no,
you can
no,
actually bring up the hero swapping thing while having the skills up.
you can, but it's sort of like a weird UI.
Oh, I
still.
get you.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was on Survivor, but maybe I'm making it up. I think this was a previous coming in hot patch where you gained like stealth when you healed above 75%.
Oh.
But
Well, here, I guess
I don't see it in conditions or anything like that, so I'm not sure if am I making
okay.
it up?
So
Perhaps I
yeah.
am. Oh no,
Let's
there
see.
it is. Gain after heal.
So after you heal someone, gain dodge, which is dope. When HP is still below 75%.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
she's even more resilient of a tank.
So that's why I'm thinking perhaps they added a heal to cauterize when you don't have bleed, because it
Right,
means you
to
can trigger those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's look at the different paths here, because these skills, like most of them, look relatively unchanged. So like what does Arsonist do now? Self burn skills effects cannot be resistant or affected by multiple round end. If it has burned, gain +1 burn dealt. Jeez.
Yes.
Okay, so she sacrifices. She starts taking burns. Scroll over the skills.
Yeah, sure
Does
thing.
it let you?
So it should compare to Wanderer here. So the gist of Arsonist is, or from what I've seen on discussion online, you can get some very, very crazy pop-off turns. I think people are making use of Backdraft, which will come over, and it seems very, how to put it, great risk, great reward is one way to put it. But sure, I'll let you have a read through these.
Yeah. So Searing Strike hits for the same, but now you're burning yourself. So that's okay. But it is dealing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's go to Firefly.
Yeah, again, like keeping in mind that through burning yourself, you're going to be gaining a stacking +1 burn.
Yeah, you're getting more speed and more burn.
Yeah.
The more burn dealt is really awesome. The
Yeah.
more speed is actually potentially a negative because it'll be tough to save her. But I guess because they were smart. it's not turn end, it's round end, so you can't set up a bunch of burns on her and then have your plague doctor purge them off.
Yes. Yeah.
So they did think about that, didn't they? All right. What's next? Hearthlight. What does Hearthlight do?
Yeah. Oh, now Hearthlight on Wanderer alone, I believe, is also changed. So maybe start with reading Wanderer.
Okay. Um, Burn resistance and remove stealth. Okay, so it's a straight up improvement. Play on crit combo. Wow.
Mm.
So Hearthlight has gotten more useful just because it does more stuff. Though I will say that Hearthlight has been getting some use for me in like Kingdoms runs, where stealth is a lot more common. But my eyes are just getting drawn over to Arsonist here.
Yep.
Because what? Transfer
weird.
the burn to the target, heal 10% per Arsonist buff, and remove the Arsonist buffs. Okay. So what's interesting is this has got the flavor of Vanguard for the Man-at-Arms, where you're debuffing yourself to gain either more damage or to gain more damage, and then you have ways to either ignore the effects or get rid of them. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like this has been your like kind of get out of jail free card for this.
Yeah.
You can drop your speed buff, drop your bonus burn buff, and given that you can stack that up to 3 times, this could be up to like a 60% heal. And yeah, it's oh no, my burn is way too big. They're already about to die. Like, let's Hearthlight now and just get some health back. So
I think it maxes out at 30% because I think it's the buff is +1 burn, +2 speed. I don't think it's 2 separate tracks.
It's so. Let me just read it. Round end, if the Arsonist has burn, gain +1 burn and +2 speed, stacking up to 3 times. And then it says in Hearthlight, heal 10% per Arsonist buff. So I'm assuming that the Arsonist buff is +1 burn, +2 speed, and then you can.
Okay, so you think those are 2 separate buffs that increment up?
I wonder if it's in the token glossary. We'll check.
Yeah, we'll check real quick.
Where on earth would it be? No,
control burn. Actually, because it would be an actual buff. It's not a token. It's a buff.
Yeah, I think they're trying to bring more of these things to tokens, but it looks like perhaps this isn't.
Yeah. Whoa! Stop.
Oh,
Left side, ground lavender, and the one below that. What are those? Okay, that's from the. Those are from the
Kingdoms,
abominations. What's the wheat one though?
I'm trying to see
left side,
okay.
Bottom left corner.
Oh, I think that's to do with the
Oh, that's the Crusader.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay,
God.
cool.
Like, deal with that once and then never have to touch it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it doesn't look like it's here. That'll maybe be something for us to find out if we go this path. But yeah, my read on it is that you can get like a very large heal off this. I think that it would scale up to 60% on upgraded, so 30% unupgraded. Just 3 times 10.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 30% unupgraded, 60% upgraded, which is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Firestarter, and I really want to look at Backdraft because I remember seeing that Backdraft.
Firestarter, there we go. Go for it.
So copy burn, target copy burn to self, target allies, transfer burn to self. Okay, so she can defensively protect her allies. That, you know what? Come to think of it, what this is doing, this makes the runaway actually pretty useful in the sprawl because she can absorb all of the burn onto herself and then knock it off.
And one change that they've done is they've changed the librarian's burn resist from immune to 100%. So burn piercing
so she can actually
get around it.
Yeah, so she can actually punch through it. That's cool. Okay, and then what? Backdraft, I think, is supposed to be the big winner, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's we'll tease that, but we'll go to Dragonfly first, I think. Okay. So giving some movement still. I mean, before, if we look at the Wanderer path alone, you're just kind of exchanging stealth for some burn piercing. But again, it's more gain on hit, gaining more burn, just like sprinkling that in all her burn moves, stacking up that self burn.
Yeah. Interestingly, the Arsonist version deals 1 less burn baseline.
Yes, because it can stack higher, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. But it was always an interesting thing about Dragonfly was how good its upgrade was because it
Mm.
like kind of almost doubles its effective output.
I mean, if we look at Firefly as like the bread and butter,
Yeah.
baseline, you're only looking at a 2 burn on target, upgrading to 4 versus
Oh
upgrading
yeah,
to
yeah,
5 on the other one. But you can get up to, if we look at the upgraded one, value of 4, 3 more, so you can get a 7 burn. In provided everything's working nicely for you, if
yeah,
you have all of your arsonist buffs. So yeah, it's chunky, but it will
yeah.
obviously take setup.
It's doing its thing. All right.
All
Enough
right,
spoilers or enough spoiling. Let's do backdraft.
yeah, go for
What
it.
do you do? All right. So old back or Wanderer backdraft is deal 75% of burn to on enemy in front as damage. So I remember the big thing here was that they changed backdraft so that it doesn't actually remove the burn, which was like kind of the problem with backdraft is,
Yeah,
it's like the same kind of gripe you have with cause of death because either it's, unless you're fighting something that's really big and you need that huge swing of damage, letting the dots tick out is probably kind of just as effective.
yeah.
And having the dots to tick off death armor is pretty good. So I do like that change. And now Arsonist backdraft target deal 50% of remaining burn on self as damage. Okay, so she blows the burn up and doubles the burn on
Well,
herself.
blows the burn up in that she stokes it and makes it even bigger. So imagine this, my reading of this at least, if we take the unupgraded version, is if you have a 10 burn on yourself, you're going to deal 5 damage to everyone on the enemy team, and then your 10 burn is going to go to a 20 burn.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out damage performer variable. So I'm trying to figure out, and maybe the only way to know this for certain is to test it. It's not clear to me if it's the runaway has 10 burns, so she hits everyone for 5 and then doubles the burn on herself,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's the enemy takes 5 because they have 10 burn on them, and then they keep ticking and the runaway doubles.
Deal 50% of remaining burn on self as damage. So I
Yeah, because
assume
that's
it's looking at your own burn because it requires target to be burned and that you have burned.
yeah. Well, I think we're gonna have to test this. I think we're running an arsonist just because there's so many things I want to see about
Well,
this.
you say that, but the survivor and orphan are also very interesting.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I guess let's look at Survivor real quick.
Yeah. So survivor, just given that we're starting them in 4th position, probably less of it. But I mean, I can give the quick spark notes before we go into the steals, which is she's more of a brawler than the Wanderer is. More kind of self-sustained, more like think like stealth tank, especially given that we have this heal up. And Orphan has just come out this week. Orphan cares about staying in one spot, and as she stays in one spot, she'll gain a stacking burn buff, and when she moves, she gains a stacking damage buff.
Okay, so she's either dancing to keep hitting,
Yep.
or not moving to just deal more and more burn.
Yeah, precisely. So, jumping into Survivor, as I think this is probably one of the more different ones.
Mhm.
I think actually it's best to start with smoke screen. So I'll let you have a quick read of this.
Okay. So old smoke screen is blind and vulnerable. It's a great skill.
Yeah, incredible skill.
Smoke screen, self, taunt 2, forward 1, remove stealth. Okay. Apply to attack. So she blinds people when hit, and at the start of her next turn, she gets 2 stealth. So she tanks up. She stands up and tanks up for 1 turn, and then ducks out. So she's more of an off tank than your tank. And she's dumping combo when it's upgrade. She's dumping combo and blind
Yeah.
onto the target, and then again stealthing up so that she's not continually getting punished.
Yeah, and I mean
Okay.
taunt is most certainly one of the strongest like tactical tokens in the game, being able to manipulate who gets hit. So
Yeah, exactly.
Jumping around to Searing Strike. So in this case, they they kind of gave it a bit of a grave robber treatment there. You can see that you have 50% crit per stealth. So if you've managed to get 2 stealth, such as maybe you've got like a smoke screen into the start of next turn, you'll have 100% chance to crit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And critting gives you more burn duration.
Yes, and
So she wants to keep swinging with it, which we like.
yeah, I think it was more they wanted to give like a kind of damaging output, and especially given that we can see smoke screen, this has to be used in the first 3 ranks, as opposed to anywhere. So the survivor runaway wants to be further up. Dipping into half light, we can see some sustain there.
Okay.
So in this case, it's a targeted skill along the first 3 ranks, where provided the target has stealth, you'll heal them per their stealth and remove the stealth.
That actually makes the stealth trinkets a little bit more exciting too.
Yeah, 100%. And I forget if there's anything which can grant stealth in the core kit. But I mean, not every comp will be able to make use of this off the rip. Obvious ones would be Grave Robber, having easier access to stealth. But
but it's certainly a more unique flavor for a character. Like she's doing some interesting stuff. It looks like Ransack's changed as well. Does that mean anything?
We'll jump over to that.
Okay. She's stealing.
Tokens.
That's a cool effect to have elsewhere in the region, because that's one of the things the Highwayman does. That's super high power. So I love to see that. I love to see the Runaway doing it too, and that also really fits the name of the skill. Like she's ransacking them.
I'm just gonna quickly skim through real quick. So yes, Run and Hide is another one of your sources of stealth. Now, being the survivor, you don't really want to move back as far, so it's nice. The base Run and Hide now is only back 1. I think it was a higher movement before. Firefly is kind of prototypical. Cauterize, we've already noted on that. Like, we're seeing it. Interestingly, the upgraded one is a 5% heal rather than just a 1 heal while no bleed. But we do still keep our use count.
I still maintain that's like, I understand why they did it, because Survivor, when they heal, they get dodge tokens, which makes a lot of sense. But it's still very surprising to me that Cauterize, which to me has always been one of these like just incredibly powerful skills, is just like, we needed to make it better. Like, all right, no complaints. But
so it's Survivor. That's what she tries to do. Really, name describes it. She's looking to tank hits. She's looking to dip out of threat with stealth, and then gaining dodge tokens from healing and such.
Yeah, I like that. And then Orphan.
So we'll start off with Wanderer, Searing Strike, not Wanderer, the normal one.
Okay.
So just seems like lower default numbers. Or rather, no, sorry. We've lost the adjacent enemy. And then we're getting benefit from having stealth on us, like an additional.
They're making the Grave Robber much more, or the Runaway much more of a stealth-based character, which was always, as I recall, and it's been a long time since I've looked or read about this. There was always a complaint that there weren't a lot of characters that use stealth at all. And it's nice to have the Runaway start making some real use of it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one thing I'm curious about. So, we can see that we can gain a stacking burn buff on this. Am I reading this right? You're applying 2 separate burns to the target depending on if you're stealthed or not.
Yes.
So, would you get double the effect from your bonus burn damage? So, if you have
my read is yes.
Interesting. And I guess that the enemy would have 2 rolls to try and resist the burn damage as well, or these 2 separate burns. Interesting. So you potential for larger swings, because if both burns go through, you're still dealing the same amount of damage, but to double dip on that.
Yeah. So it turns
bonus is nice.
So upgraded Searing Strike is dealing, coming out of stealth is dealing 4 burn in theory. With after not moving for a round, she does 6 burn, and then she's adding in another duration for that burn if she hasn't moved in 2 rounds. Which, if you're running an Orphan, it seems like you're going to commit very early on to which of these you're doing.
Yeah, I think even just knowing what your team is capable of. So Some teams are much more ready to go dancing than others, and our only real dance partner in the team that we have at the moment is the Grave Robber. Like, we don't really have any movement with Plague Doctor. We don't have any movement with Vestal. So if we were going an Orphan runaway, I think we would probably be expecting more to stay put.
Yeah, she's going to want to stay. She's going to want to stay on that, and I do like this as being a more dynamic thing versus the old Orphan, which was really like it all the benefits were on immediately. So a lot of times it kind of felt like if you're grave or if your runaway's in rank 4 and you don't have to move her for any reason, you obviously go Orphan and set the world on fire. You know.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to move away from certain paths just being Wanderer plus, you know, and
just being better Wanderer.
And to be honest, a lot of the Wanderer skills are still really, really serviceable and worth looking over. But
for sure,
just to whistle through the rest of them. So it seems like Firefly is getting similar treatment. We're getting the double burn chance, so double dipping on the burn damage.
Yep. If she's coming out of stealth, yeah.
Smoke screen, I'll let you take this one.
Okay. So stealthing up, which is great. Blinding and weakening is very interesting. Ignores combo effect when self.
Interesting.
So if I'm reading that right, I think what that means is if you're already in stealth, it doesn't consume the combo point. Meaning that, because I remember reading something in one of the notes that was talking about they were trying to address the feels bad of like setting up a cool combo point and then your Plague Doctor goes before your Bounty Hunter and you waste the combo point on a skill that matters less. So I wonder if that's what this is she gets the stealth if they're comboed and she's not in stealth. If she is in stealth, she doesn't get that, but she still can blind and weaken them for free.
I'm not sure. I think this will be one that I'd have to see in action to get a good idea. I don't think this is maybe the best tooltip.
Yeah, I think this tooltip needs some help. I will say though, just looking at this, like I understand what it's doing. I think I understand what it's doing. I prefer Wanderer Smokescreen. It's just being more directly powerful.
I think like vulnerability tokens in general are pretty prized. I will say though, now Weak did have in the current version of this patch has a mechanical change. So historically, my understanding is that when monsters were ordained or had battle modifiers which increased the damage they dealt, if you applied a weak token to them, or same would go to you if you had damage boosting tokens, weak was an additive or subtractive bonus. So if you were dealing 100% of your damage, so you had no damage boosting, nothing, the weak token would remove 50% of that, so you would deal 50% of your base damage. In the instance where you are, say, dealing 150% of your base damage because you've got damage boosting trinkets or otherwise, or same to enemies, applying a weak token would subtract from that 150. So instead of dealing 150, you deal 100% of your damage, as opposed to it being multiplicative, where you would take that 150 and then half it and bring it down to 75. So that is how it is now changed, and that means as a result that weak tokens are stronger in almost all use cases. And this is a thing that they're trying out with this new one, just because it felt bad to fight ordained monsters with the battle modifier, which also increased their damage, and you see them flash up with a damage number after they've been weaked, and it goes from like 21 down to 15 or something, where you should be like, it's 21, it should be 10, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they still break your skull open.
Yes. So weak is going through some balance passes at the moment, just its sources and such. So while normally I'd be like, oh god, weak, why couldn't it have been the vulnerability? It's something that's worth playing around with a bit more and seeing if it's got some legs.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I guess for me, like I think Survivor is an interesting path, but I think for this run, given that we're probably not going dancing, what do you think, Arsonist or Orphan?
Um, well, let's check the last two skills on it.
Okay.
I think it's hard to lock in right now. I think given that we're likely not going to be dancing with this. I think the safest one would be Orphan. However, there have been changes to the Plague Doctor. I forget if there have been to the other ones. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
well, we'll get there.
yeah, we'll probably be able to make a better call. But I think if I were feeling safe, I would say Orphan. But if we wanted to, I know that Arsonist last week was extremely strong. And I know it's received some balance tweaks. So it may not be as explosive as it was in the 5th week of the Steward patch. But just pulling through the last two skills, Ransack, it looks like it's lost some stealth interaction. I assume this is just so you can well, yeah. Just
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Ransack hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot. It's lost that stealth interaction from Wanderer, but you know, Orphan doesn't really like, if Orphan wants to be moving, then this is moving her. But otherwise I don't think it doesn't seem like it's the
Oh, I've realized what that line means. Sorry, it's saying that when so in the case of Smokescreen, when the target is comboed, you gain stealth. And it is saying that if you already have stealth, you don't just regain stealth afterwards and permanently stay in stealth.
Oh.
So that's what Ransack's trying to do. So you're not able to hit out of Ransack and deal damage and just stay permanently in stealth.
Gotcha.
Okay, apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you figured it out. All right, and then presumably Dragonfly is, yeah. So all the burn skills get that split damage coming out of stealth, which does mean that she's mechanically getting +2 burn dealt and +2 burn duration dealt.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Now, to jump to the next hero that I think might actually give us some steering. You know what? It's better to look here. I think Cause of Death has received some changes.
Ooh woo.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
is this? What? Hold on. Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, I want to say something. Red Hook, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
That line there, Execution 1, was the single biggest problem I had with Cause of Death. Not only from removing all the dots and having the thing still be alive to hit you because of death armor, but also because I diagnose you with death needs to be an execution.
Yeah, totally agree. Now, perhaps we should have done this on Runaway, but I actually think it's worthwhile, just especially given much more familiar with these skills. Plague Doctor's a favourite of all of us.
Yeah.
Worthwhile just whistling through Wanderer before we go into the paths.
Sure.
Unless... Oh, okay, anyway, going back on it. Let's just quickly mouse through this as if it was on Wanderer.
Yeah.
So... Oh, wait, one sec. Because it was previously selected, it's highlighting skills strangely. Okay, we're just going to have to... Alright, we know Orphan's on the right, Wanderer's on the left. So, Searing Strike is just bonus during stealth. Otherwise, largely what it was. Dragonfly is piercing on stealth. Otherwise, kind of what it was.
Yep.
Smokescreen. Yeah, it's just very strong. Run and hide. I think
that's unchanged.
Yeah. Back 1. I think it used to be back 2. Or like a greater back.
I could check, but if it is, that's a relatively minor change. I know she's mobile. I don't remember if she was back 2 before though.
Yeah, sure. Hearthlight, I believe
we talked about Hearthlight. Just got a big bonus.
Ransack, kind of. Sorry to whistle us through this after we just teased the Plague Doctor, but I was like, well, maybe we should have gone through them.
It looks like the Runaway in general, his skills are largely mechanically they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They're just they're either taking advantage of stealth now or they're slightly improved, Cauterize is being slightly improved.
Did Control Burn previously apply a burn to the target as you were?
That was a change they made. Yes, but that's on the base. That's on the main patch now too. That was done a while ago because the skill was unloved because it didn't immediately do anything.
Yeah, yeah, understood. Dragonfly, I think this
That's
hasn't received too
unchanged.
much. Firestarter, same deal. I think this is the
The
same as what
plus
it
one
used to be.
burn duration dealt I think is new, but I'm still not super impressed. I don't know that Firestarter's that exciting of a skill,
Yeah,
but it
agreed.
does do something.
And
It
then
does do something.
lastly, Backdraft. Now, I think this no longer removes the burn on Wanderer.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the I remember that seeing that as one of the big changes to make Backdraft
yeah,
more viable.
yeah. Really, really, really nice. Now, sorry, probably should have started with that. Jumping into Plague Doctor, whistling through the skills. So, Noxious Blast. Yeah, just solid as always. Plus one
Oh, it's
duration when combo now.
yeah, but it went from 4-6 to 4-5 on the Blight Delt, which not a huge deal, but it is a slight nerf, I believe.
Yes, but the combo, I'd say the combo effect is stronger now, right? Getting more duration that way.
Yeah, the combo effect actually does something
Yeah.
most of the time.
Blinding
Uh,
gas, I think this is kind of the same.
yeah, it's largely
Yeah.
unchanged, I think. All right, what happened to Incision? Okay, so same,
Similar effect it seems.
yeah, same treatment. It's still doing the same thing, but now or the duration from critting is now locked in as a combo point.
Yeah.
All right.
Battle medicine, just strong as always.
Still
Yeah.
remains one of the
Yeah.
best healing skills in the game.
Ounce prevention. Now, I think this might have seen some changes in other paths. We're seeing a bit of an overflow. I can't mouse over it, but on that 10% debuff res on the
Yeah,
upgrade.
it's they are trying so hard to make
Yeah.
this skill good, and I think they're getting there, but it's still just like, man, it maybe it means a lot more on like the Infernal Torch runs, but
You
like for standard runs,
this skill still holds like a okay, now very early in the beta for Darkest Dungeon 2, you didn't have many tools to reduce stress, and Ounce of Prevention used to reduce stress. In fact, it used to be one of the only skills that reduced stress
yeah.
that were out at the
Yeah, it
time.
AoE stress healed, and I think
Yeah.
at the very beginning it didn't have a cap,
Yep.
so it was just strict or like a minimum threshold
And
of stress, so it was just better than
I
everything
I
else.
still like think of that whenever I look at the skill. And I'm like, yeah, no, like keep nerfing it into the ground. Like it had its time in the sun very early in the beta.
Yeah,
Obviously
it's
not the
still
right.
paying
Yeah,
for its sins.
plague grenades. Oh gosh, I remember that cooldown nerf. Ugh. But yeah,
Yeah,
interestingly,
that's.
nothing on. Did this used to have something in combo, or was it always?
I don't remember. If it did, it was only the resistance part. I mean,
Yeah.
that the cooldown is a nasty shot to the face,
Mm.
but I think maybe it's alchem. At one point, I think Alchemist still had it, but Surgeon doesn't have the cooldown because
Mm.
Surgeon doesn't want to be using it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's largely unchanged.
Yeah. Emboldening vapors. I don't know if I've
This
said
has
this
gotten a
before.
leg up. Well, it's definitely improved because it used to be just the at one point it was just the strengths. I haven't looked at the skill and so on, so I don't remember if it was removing um, daze and stun.
Mm.
But now that it definitely is, that makes it a much more useful skill, at least in a denial run. Way to pops stuns off because there are more of those now than there
Yeah,
were in the past.
especially if you keep a slow plague doctor to be able to be reactive to whoever might have got stunned in the turn cycle. Jumping over disorientating blast. Often
Looks
forgotten about.
unchanged. Yeah, because while it does do stuff, and I'm sure there are use cases for it, just kill them dead
Yeah,
is a better option.
exactly. Yeah, this looks largely the same.
Yeah, this looks the same.
Cause of death already touched on it. Now draw attention the numbers.
Yeah, the
100%
100%.
straight away, and then 150% on upgrades.
I believe that
Honestly,
was.
I don't think the numbers needed changing personally, but
Yeah,
like,
I don't think they needed changing. Well, actually, they did for the simple reason that they nerfed the when you crit, you had extra duration. So what was like 3 blight for 3 turns turned into 3 blight for 5 turns, and that's
yeah,
9 to 15 damage. So this is now sort of accounting for that back. Can you go back a skill though, real
Yeah,
quick?
sure thing.
Um, okay, no, that is unchanged. I was trying to remember if the heal 10% was the same, but yeah, it's there. It always heals for something, but it can
Yeah.
heal for a lot more with tokens.
Now, just on the cause of death though, the now this was always a pet skill of mine to be honest. Uh, One thing I like about this is it feels like less of a mandatory upgrade with mastery now, given that you're going to be getting your full value out of your dots just through the unmastered version, which is I really like. And then
Yeah,
obviously you're just getting that extra mile through mastery, which is nice. It means that it's not you can spend your early mastery on that battlefield medicine or whatever you want to be as your dot application skill.
yeah, and if you end up mastery starved at the end of a run, cause of death doesn't require a mastery
Yeah,
point to be useful or to feel good. All right, and then magnesium rain.
yeah. I think this has got. Oh no, nothing on this path.
Self clear schooldowns if corpse is cleared. Okay,
Oh wait, hold up.
so
So, I mean, I don't think we have many cooldowns, unfortunately. I
well,
mean,
but
cause of
it
death.
does have cause of death has a cooldown. Magnesium rain has a cooldown, I believe.
Uh, it does indeed. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you
Okay, so once again with the buffing a skill that really didn't need help. Like
no.
Magnesium
Yeah.
Rain was a great skill on its
Yeah.
own, no questions asked. And now it's just like, yeah, sure, spam this stuff down.
I think that Burns received a buff as well. I think didn't it used to be
Um,
like a 1 or a 2 burn?
I think it was 2 and then 3 when upgraded. So
Yeah.
that has improved slightly, but that upgrade is nuts.
I mean, what's nice about the upgrade though as well is it's not mandatory, right? Like you could arguably use this to proliferate burn if you had reasons to want to burn, i.e., backdraft on an arsonist runaway. Where
Yeah.
you require them to be burning in order to target them. Yeah, cool. All right, should we have a look at surgeon?
Yeah, let's go through this.
So
May need to pick up the pace a little bit.
yeah, I'm aware of
But
that. So in this case, we're looking at a larger. Wait, are we looking at larger? No, they've changed it. Apologies.
I was gonna say, I just look at it and immediately the first thing I see is again they've taken a skill that was already really good
Mm,
and made it better. So you deal less bleed up front. Oh, boo hoo! But you get plus bleeding dealt when you hit people with combo, which already
yeah.
feels great. The damage totals are unchanged, which is good. But then self +1 bleed +1 burn dealt when target has combo, which is a stacking buff as far as I can tell.
Yep. It's
Gain
per
on
battle.
killing blow regen. Like
Yeah. Very very
Surgeon
strong.
didn't need the help.
I mean,
Surgeon was already a battleship. What the hell?
a recent run I did with Fiend, A Bomb, and Surgeon, and like your incision is your bread and butter, right? You've parked them in 3 or wherever you've put them, and you're just throwing that out over and over and over. And it's interesting to see that they're giving some burn support with this as well, because Magnesium Rain unchanged there. So if you proc the combo once, your Magnesium Rain is going to be dealing 4 burn, and then larger and larger and larger, just to try and edge you towards those big cause of death turns, which also seems like it's been affected on this path. So interesting to see what's changed there. No, really cool.
Right.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really good. But again, it's like, and like as we go to the next skill here, I think what we're probably going to see here is,
oh gosh, just something very strong again. It looks like.
you know what? God damn it!
Yeah,
I quit.
mean,
Like, what the hell?
we've lost the self removal of tokens, but we are getting a much larger heal when your target is in a pinch. It looks like
Oh,
it's
that is a
also,
good point. It is a good call out.
also usable on front ranks. No longer usable on 4th rank.
Yeah, it encourages the surgeon to be up front, which is where she wants to be. But that, like, so this is one of those things where Darkest Dungeon gets really weird about, like, how the math works here. So I don't know if that means,
Oh, if it's additive
Plus.
or multiplicative.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to be healing over their 100% health. So I'm assuming that you'll get, if all three are present, the 25 heal becomes a 50% heal.
Okay, you think that's how that? I
Yeah.
mean, that sounds right. But I mean, mechanically, what this skill reads like is heal them to full. Like that's almost
Yeah.
like if you're
Yeah.
fighting any of the bosses that are dealing dots, this is going to go from an already great heal to a heal them more or less to full.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, it depends on the region that you're in, or like like there's a good presence of these dots in Eldritch fights, for example. So
Yeah.
we'll make Surge and Baphomet feel really good there.
Yeah, this specifically messes with the cardinal and the deacon. Both of them have skills that apply all three dots in
Yeah,
one swing, and this just literally says thanks
yeah.
and maxes out the heal. Like what the hell?
Will be interesting to see. All right,
Yeah.
let's power on. So ounce prevention, actually seeing changes in this one. So it seems like it's a group target. You gain block for yourself, and then everyone who gets hit by this is going to gain stun res and move res. We are in denial. Let's go. So
Yeah,
the
suddenly
stun
the
res
skill
is
is
very
nuts.
nice. And then we're also seeing on upgrade debuff res and some stress resistance. So
Yeah, that is really good for the surgeon. Now it does look like it's targeted, so it's um and she probably can target herself, but it's one at a time. It's not an AoE anymore, but that's still like usually when you do a denial run, you get like a few clarifying poultices
I'm not
if you don't get
sure.
enough.
I actually think it's all of your team, because you're seeing links there on the pips. So I think it's only usable in the first three, but it hits the entire team. But
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, I'm fully ready to be wrong on that. So
yeah, we're definitely gonna find out because that is nuts. So
yeah, we can see.
Okay, emboldening vapors loses its stress or its stun remove, which is fine, but it's giving somebody, or it's giving the plague doctor and somebody. That's a nice buff.
Yeah, for sure.
And the biggest problem we're gonna have is that she only gets 5 skills.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Not just that, she only gets one action per round.
Yeah, seriously. Disorientating blast.
So Shuffle changed to knockback, arguably stronger in my opinion, and actually deals damage now as opposed to just a movement skill.
Mm-hmm.
And then the knockback into immobilize can be extremely strong. Again, I immediately think of like Eldritch fights where you might want to knock oh god, their names are escaping me. The front
The
line
evangelists.
Or like knock them back a few, and so they're having to do that hurried swipe over and over, which is much worse.
Yeah,
can be.
That's very good. I also like something we're noticing with the surgeon, at least, is she is constantly generating block for herself, which was like the one area that she didn't have was like she was basically HP tanking, and now she's blocking.
Yeah, I mean, it led to almost all surgeons feeling like they had to be in rank 3 because you didn't have movement for yourself, and you didn't have easy damage mitigation for yourself either. So we're now seeing healing from incision, and then block gain from a lot of these skills. Which means that maybe you won't feel as bad about putting a surgeon in rank 2, or even like if they end up in rank 1 and sit there for a bit.
Yeah, she can stand toe to toe at the front, which is exciting. All right, let's check out cost. Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, actually, I think this is probably the first time I've seen where the upgraded skill is worse than the baseline. Because I think I prefer the Wanderer cause of death almost always, but that is a very cute skill to just be like, you know what? No.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, there's other cause of death effects that are out there. So, what springs to mind is Exsanguinate on Flagellant,
or the Backdraft on the Runaway.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So like, cause of death becomes less of a like an omni dot, like just stack them all and I'll nuke them, and turns into more of a, hey, if you have a comp that really cares about a certain dot, and like they can provide their own nuke, or perhaps you're in like a more drawn out fight, and doubling those early will be a lot more beneficial.
Yeah,
And
interestingly, only usable from the front too.
yeah, and yes, yeah, definitely. And then lastly, in boss fights anyway, the enemy are going to be getting multiple turns per round anyway, and proccing all their dots. So you sometimes had to work quite hard to get a large cause of death in boss fights. So
Yeah, and now
the
you just
doubling is easier.
yeah, that's smart. So I think for the record, we're gonna run a surgeon for this one. So instead of reviewing the other paths, let's go to the
Oh,
grave robber
you don't want to see
because I think
position. All the other ones, I
all right,
understand.
we'll give physician its chance. I'm just thinking about the interest of time.
No. To be honest, we can come back to this. I think because
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to.
Let's put a pin in the others
Yeah,
because I
we
think
are.
I surgeon seems like it's got too much going on to not check out. All
Yeah.
right,
So I don't know if there's been many changes with Wanderer, but if okay, before we reveal Wanderer, sorry, and Vestal, do you have a general direction for the team? Given that you want to go Surgeon, Plague Doctor, it sounded like you want to stack dots and such.
yeah. So I think I want to do surgeon plague doctor.
Mm-hmm.
The grave robber, I was preparing to do something in the vein of Deadeye or Venom Drop, depending on which one more appealed.
Mm-hmm.
The Vestal's going to be a chaplain
Mm.
because we need somebody to be in front, and that's I recently played a run with a chaplain Vestal, and I was incredibly impressed with what it was doing.
Yeah, honestly,
So
it can put out some great stuff. So in terms of the runaway, I guess before we know whether it's an
yeah,
arsonist or an orphan or otherwise, or even just Wanderer. Wanderer is still very good.
yeah,
You'd want to know what this grave robber is doing in terms of um,
yeah. I think
dancing.
so. I think you're right.
So okay, jumping into it. Um, yeah, we're looking
These look unchanged. Yeah,
same again.
yeah,
Still looks
yeah.
the
These look.
same. Applying
Yeah,
crit
this all looks
knockback.
pretty much unchanged. Go back to Glint in the Dark. Was that Execution? Jesus,
Yeah,
Execution 3.
I don't know if that's changed or not though. So
I don't know if it's changed either, but it's just I haven't noticed that
yeah,
if it's like, oh, it's Execution 3. Just so we're clear about how badly we want this person
yeah.
dead.
Rapate, I swear, like gets crazy. Now Night Swan being the moving around a lot, that would kind of lock us into playing Orphan a certain way,
Yeah.
or like not going Orphan at all. Do you have a leaning on this, or do you want to check through the affected skills
I
and
was
see if
looking
it's...
I was looking to see if there's been any major changes, but it doesn't look like the Grave
I
Robbers
no, I don't think the
gotten
Grave Robber
changes.
has. I can, you know what, I will try and be as swift as I can. If I
Yep.
just Control F, Grave Robber.
Yeah, I guess I can do the same. I think was it like week 2 maybe?
If I go old and then scroll through. Okay, no, I don't think I'm seeing much of anything, Grave Robber wise.
Yeah, it looks like the
So
Occultist, the Runaway.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
that makes it a little bit
yeah,
easier.
easier to pass. Now makes now it's like, do we go back to Plague Doctor? No. Okay.
Yeah.
So
We might here in a minute.
So okay, and then in terms of Vestal, I certainly agree with you. Especially if we want to have a frontline Vestal, it's going to be Chaplain, you know. And I also don't think that they've had much changed or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't
changed.
look like they've changed her much either. This all looks familiar.
Yeah. So let's start building from here, and then if we think it's worthwhile looking at the other Plague Doctor paths, we can. So starting with what the Chaplain Vestal can do. So we know that they become more of a frontline tank, and that their conviction turns into like stun and move resist. So leading into that,
Yeah.
when you last played a Chaplain Vestal, what skills did you go with?
I mean, we had Hand of Light and Mace Bash, aka Bonk,
Yeah,
because we got to have those. I believe I was running Illumination, but I wasn't super like I was I was running it conditionally when I needed it.
Okay.
Check divine. Does divine grace work from that front rank?
No, it
No.
doesn't.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think you can't even comfort at the start. I think it's more of like a
Yes.
mantra and like
Yeah.
guarding people.
I think the Vestal being in rank one trips herself up, and that she can only heal herself.
Yeah.
But we take mantra, and then we do a lot more with sanctuary. Is the other
Yeah.
key skill. Then the last one is a little bit more optional.
I mean,
Ministrations is good.
it's good. It's perhaps less needed because we have a plague doctor present.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
guess illumination. I honestly
well,
don't dislike. Yeah.
it's either illumination or the consecration that does the tanking,
Fort, fortitude.
because she can drop it on
Yeah,
herself.
I think let's start with fortitude. The reason why I don't dislike illumination is that, especially as you come into like lair fights and such, it means that you're sacrificing Vestal's like opportunity to do like a turn one bonk or something, which you wouldn't be able to do anyway because you won't have the conviction, to remove the dodge off a dog or something. So
Yeah, I think that's a good call. But yeah, it's definitely
the stuff,
chaplain.
yeah. Okay, cool. So we can park this. We don't have to worry about it. Nothing to write home about in terms of quirks.
Yeah. Mogwellian, you lead the team.
Yeah, exactly. It's only taken us however long to get
Yeah,
there.
who cares?
So yeah, okay, we have a lot to decide on this. Now, the okay, all right. You made the call. Do you want to
So-
see the other ones before we decide if we go in a dot comp or not, or should we just lock in surgeon?
I think we just lock in surgeon.
Cool.
We'll look at the others maybe in the next run, or we might
Sure.
spend a few minutes. We can always like timestamp things, but I think I want to get this run on the road.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I think surgeon, just there's enough changes to surgeon that I'm very interested to feel its performance.
For sure. Well, I
mean-
mean, incision's always there. Battlefield medicine's
Battlefield medicine's always
gonna
there.
be there.
But I actually think so. Ounce of prevention doesn't come along yet, but ounce of prevention does get put
Yeah.
in.
Probably gets upgraded too, honestly.
Yeah, for the boss fight.
Yeah.
So I don't think it comes in now, but I do want emboldening vapors.
Sure.
And is magnesium rain usable from 2 and 3? Yeah.
Yes.
We'll take magnesium rain, and then I guess cause of death.
Let me just have a quick think. Now I guess if there's anyone backline, we're just going to be magnesium raining them. Otherwise, emboldening vapors. So
Yeah, exactly.
noxious blast and where is it? Plague grenade not really needed, especially given that this still opens us to being able to dance a little bit with.
Oh, that's a good point. So
Yeah.
maybe cause of death doesn't come in. Then I kind of wonder if it
cause of
is...
death requires us to be in rank 1 or 2, so we would need to have the.
Interestingly, something else we didn't talk about, you only get one use of it. So you only get to do it
Oh
once.
damn! Yeah, you do, and it looks like it needs to be upgraded before you can double blight or burn. I didn't notice that in the
Yeah, so that actually really makes me want Wanderer Cause of Death instead, but that's for another time.
Yeah, sure.
I think here it's really dealer's choice for the fifth skill. Plague Grenade's fine. Noxious Blast isn't it, just purely because any scenario we'd want to do that. We just want to stab them.
I mean, we get perhaps we want something that would apply some combo.
Yeah, if that's the case, then Blinding Gas is probably our fit here.
Well, it's a shame that Blinding Gas only hits on the back, and our Incision only hits in the front. So I think if we want to be able to get combo off for Incision, we're going to need to be able to
generate combos somewhere else in the formation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Perhaps
Here, let's put in Disorienting Blast.
Sorry, I hate to say it again. This is another. You can only use it from the front 2 ranks.
I know, because I think what we're going to do with the Grave Robber is have her move back.
Yeah, as in before we. You mean like this, or do you mean?
No, I mean the Grave Robber is going to be. So either Venom Drop or Night Sworn both benefit from this, but now I'm thinking the Venom Drop. Like Venom Drop gets increased blight capabilities, which is appealing. So she's either pirouetting, or she's fade to blacking. And then
Oh,
she's throwing her darts and
I think.
stuff.
Am I? Do you mean
Or
Shadow
Shadow
Fade? Yeah, I
Fade,
was gonna
sorry.
say.
Yeah, I mean Shadow
I
Fade.
was having a
My
moment
bad.
there. No, it's all good. I mean, if we are planning on doing any element of dance with the grave robber, it would push us away from going. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get used to it. Going
But I think
orphan because it means we're not going to get.
yeah,
Um,
but I think that I have to reveal my soul here. I really want to see Arsonist rip. So
okay,
I think
fair.
we go I think we lock in Arsonist here
Sure.
and see, and especially since this is a denial run, we can see how bad the burn gets.
Okay, sure. And so, if we're going emboldening vapors and perhaps even upgrading it on surgeon, this could be an okay pirouette. Not pirouette, an okay night swan,
I like the sound of that.
and just go like kind of well. What would you go for a typical one? I pirouette lunge
I mean,
are in there.
yeah, they're kind of obvious. Um, and then I think uh, you probably want pick to the face and dagger, and then one of her
Yeah,
healing skills.
I'm not even sure I would bring pick to the face, though maybe I'm wrong on this. Just simply because if you're pirouetting immediately, most of the time, you're going to be in rank 4, and so
Yeah. Interestingly, pirouette does not daze her in this skill. So we
no,
actually have. I didn't even notice that. So that's actually really interesting because
yeah,
that means lunge and pirouette is an actual like
yep,
wombo
you
combo.
can just keep repeating them. It's fantastic. You want to have a source of stealth, to get that 50% damage.
Mhm. Well,
Um,
that makes me wonder if we ditch. So this is gonna sound crazy. We ditch pirouette and shadow fade instead. Pirouette doesn't do the damage.
I
Shadow
see.
fade into lunge does the
I mean,
damage.
no reason not to have both of them.
I think that's a good call. And then I
Yeah,
think maybe thrown dagger and
like Dead of
we
Night,
do
like for
yeah,
a
dead of either or dead of night or absinthe. Both are fine.
yeah. My thinking is Dead of Night to have a secondary stealth generation,
Yeah, makes sense. We do something like that.
while maintaining, and then what we like about this is it stands to we already have sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stands to benefit nicely from the strength token that we can grant through surgeon. All right,
Yep. Exactly.
so I think we're getting there. Also, I am I right in thinking Hand of Light can hit allies? No, okay, not with the strength token. All right, Runaway. So we're looking at Arsonist where we were getting backdraft and such. So I
Yeah.
believe
Now it's
this.
backdraft. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
usable from where it needs to be usable for us.
yeah. So we know we want that. We know that we're gonna want um, our Runaway to be operable in 3 and 4,
Mhm.
but largely be able to get back there. So I think our only back moves are
So it's probably
Run and
Firefly.
Hide. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's probably we probably we want Firefly and Smokescreen for sure.
yeah, for sure. Oh well, okay. Now
No-
smoke screen is weaker. Did
Smokescreen's just a pure utility skill for us.
yeah,
Like it's just sometimes you just need to blind something.
yeah, understood. Um,
Um,
do we want to perhaps go like Run and Hide?
I think having run and hide is good. And then what does Hearthlight do again? Hearthlight
Oh
was
wait,
good
but
now, right?
actually, yeah, sorry. Healthlight is your get out of jail card with
Yes,
self bend.
we probably need that. And then backdraft is maybe the last skill.
So our burn application is going to be just Firefly. So we won't have much for front rank, but we can get around that with Magnesium Rain. And so we need to be in position 3 and 2 for backdrafting. So that would happen after we pirouetted or
Yeah.
shadow faded on.
Yeah, which actually makes me wonder if we actually want run and hide.
Yeah, I thought it would be more important for us to be in back rank. I definitely think we want something that can move us back, but perhaps it could be Dragonfly instead.
Is she ever getting to rank 2?
I think things would
Like
need
how
to
does
go
how,
things would need to go wrong for her to get to rank 2.
Yeah. So I don't think Dragonfly is good enough.
Fair enough.
It could be Ransack, but I think maybe just Cauterize and call it good.
Okay, 1 second. Firestarter copy burn to self, and then target allies transfer burn to self. I mean, perhaps we just go Firestarter turbo suicide. You know,
In the sprawl, definitely.
yeah,
Turbo suicide ourselves. I think we start with Cauterize and keep Firestarter as a sub in.
yeah. Okay, cool. I'm
Yeah.
just checking over. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. I think that feels right.
Right.
All right. Let's get Mog's Angels on the road here.
Yeah.
Ah, the valley.
Yeah,
It never
it's
changes.
been a hot minute now. The astute among you will notice that we're much faster. This is another feature that they're testing on the beta branch, where combat's a little bit faster and the carriage can be faster. It's toggleable, so right.
Yeah, it's definitely feels it. So, like in this scenario, I actually think we Shadow Fade over Pirouette.
Yeah, though we do have a weak token, so pirouetting might be nice to try and.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, we can just get rid of the damage. The reason I was looking at is that we only hit one unit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that matters.
Yeah, the early weak from light sensitive is rough.
Yeah. Your Grave Robber needs some help. Just so we're clear.
Or pirouette, get out of there. So
Yeah.
yeah, all this is faster.
Yeah, we've also accelerated combat. So while you play this out, I'm gonna do my quick iron triangle on the
Yeah, sure then.
on the formation here. So Mog's Angels, not an official named formation, though perhaps it should be. But when we look at this formation, first thing that sticks out to me is the healing output. In our iron triangle, healing this formation absolutely shines. Plague Doctor is here with the best healing in the game. The Vestal is here, though she's not very good at healing as a chaplain. You could be making that happen fairly easily. The Runaway healing with Cauterize, also healing herself, and the Grave Robber healing herself. So overall, you have a very strong formation for sustaining itself. However, that comes at a price, which is that boy howdy do we not stress heal.
Yeah.
This formation does not have stress healing. And then finally, damage output, as Rowan is very astutely demonstrating here. We do have the damage output. We're dealing a lot of dots, and we're dealing a lot of damage. And we've queued the Chaplain up for a grand big bonk. So that's... Ooh, backdraft time.
Yeah, I'm wondering that we don't have burn on our woodsman, so I think I need to get burn there first, and then I can start.
Yeah, let's see what it does. But yeah, so that's the summary of the Iron Triangle. Healing, great. Stress healing, bad. Damage output, strong. Truthfully, this is probably a formation that could do some damage on quite a few of the confessions, but denial is where we're at. Now give them the bonk.
Yeah, there we go.
Bonk. Yeah. So what do you think, Rowan? That's my lightning speed analysis as you were fighting here.
Yeah.
What are you thinking and feeling?
Well, let's first we'll see.
So hang on. So
7.
6.
Yeah.
So it's dealing 50% of damage itself. How much burn is on the giant?
Oh, I don't think it's looking at the giant. It's target deal 50% remaining burn on self. So 7 on here, 7 on us, and
okay, so it's impossible to tell.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
But then our burn is doubled to 14, so we've got to get through him ASAP.
Yeah, we need to end this fight.
Yeah. Well, he will die imminently.
Yeah.
And then I will just sanctuary. Oh. Yeah. Sorry. To answer what I think of the comp. I think it'll be interesting seeing how Arsonist plays out. I certainly agree with you. Like, there's some interplay going on with stacking dots. Now, I feel like I messed up several times in that fight alone, but not having the dots hit as hard as in the current main branch patch, I think it's just going to throw some of the math off a little bit. I think we're going to be very combo heavy to try and get the plague doctor to start spinning. But it should be good. I haven't played around with Frontline Vestal very much, so I'm eager to see if she can keep up. But yeah, I definitely took damage I didn't need to take there.
Whatever. The good news is this formation can handle that damage output. I think the only thing I would have done differently there is instead of Sanctuary, I would have Mantra'd.
Yes, I actually forgot what Sanctuary did, and I thought I was Mantra'ing. So
yeah, whatever.
All right, shall we?
It don't matter.
Put a pin there, or should we resolve this in first?
We always resolve the in. Let's see where we're going first of all.
Yeah, sure thing.
No, the bounty hunter can stay on the bench.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I am a fan of the wind chime, though. I'm pretty sure Tangle has quite high bleed resist, if that matters, but doesn't care as much about the burn.
This is true. Now, jump back to our formation real quick. I need to check something. Plague Doctor can hit the root and the bad guy. Bring up the Grave Robber skills. Does she have a way to hit 3 and 4 at the same time? Where's Flash and Daggers hit right now?
Flash and Daggers can hit on the back 3.
Okay.
It does have a cooldown there, if that matters.
It does, but she also has the knife.
We can sub in Plague Grenade for the fight. Also, we have Magnesium Rain, but it doesn't land a hit.
I think it still counts. We have Disorienting Best. We have a few ways to do it. Backdraft can hit back, or Backdraft hits back there. Hearthlight hits because it's not. You don't have to deal damage because it doesn't actually have a health bar. You just have to target it and hit it with something. So what I'm looking for here is, can this formation actually fight the Dreaming General? And I think the answer is yes, with the caveat that it's pretty vulnerable to stealth damage, and I'm not super confident yet.
I think we may struggle a little bit with healing, so we'd probably have to swap in Absinthe for Dead of Night and such. I think it'll be an uphill battle no matter what. I mean, one question is, do we want to go the general? I prefer this wind chime reward, just purely from like a
realistically, we have a moment's peace means the Oasis, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's possible we won't even get the choice.
Well, it'd be very hard to see where to go as well. My greediness inside me makes me want to go sprawl just to try and get a burn trinket for the arsonist.
Yeah. We're gonna end up going to the sprawl anyway because you always go to one of each zone.
Yeah.
I think we go to the tangle here because it'll the way the things work, it'll tell you where the Oasis is and it'll tell you where the lair is. So we'll be able to navigate our way to either or both if we want to. So I think we head to the tangle here because that wind chime is going to be a big upgrade for us. Before we do mastery, let's do the provisioner. Yeah,
sure thing. So I forget if there have been any changes on pets. I do think that the Purloiner has had its cat food reduced in cost. I think that used to be 6.
It might have been. Either way, it's pretty standard.
I mean, my default, I don't want to think, is always Orphan Wolf Cub.
So here's the thought. Scroll down and look at our wagon items real quick. What do we got here?
So we have the wind chime coming, which is road gear. We have available road gear and some medical gear and tinkers.
Yeah. So the medical gear, the salt barrel being there, does tempt me to take Pliskin, because that's 5% healing given per 2 packs of salt, which we will find quite easily. That makes Pliskin quite good. The other one I'm thinking about here is the crocodile, actually. Because while we don't have a ton of movement, we do have a character that is going to be racking up the movement for 3 of our characters.
Yeah, for sure. The speed decrease can start to become difficult in protracted fights. But
this is true.
Hopefully not. Especially given that we are looking to stack damage on the Grave Robber anyway.
Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
could definitely be an option.
let me think about this. If you say your typical battle is for 4 rounds, the grave robbers move in one, two, three, 4 times, or so you really realistically three because the fourth one it ends the fight.
Hmm.
Eh, you're talking about a 12% damage boost. Realistically, maybe 15 if you say the runaway moves around once. Yeah, I think it's a Pliskin. I think it's a
Sure. I
Pliskin run.
mean, the other one I would throw out there would be just going Purloiner.
Yeah, the
Um,
Purloiner's never bad.
yeah. Just in
Uh,
terms of we're getting the road gear from the thingy, and then we could grab a medical gear now, and then that would be two
yep.
effects on the cat food.
The two best effects in my opinion. The
Mm.
road gear one is amazingly strong just to be able to quickly regen those. Um yeah, I'd say snake or cat here. So, if you feel like the cat's the play, I'm down with that. The Pliskin's just getting super greedy on like finding a bunch of medical gear.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not that greedy in that we have two available now. We only have our 40. Um,
Yeah, I mean
40 baubles we can
if we
make use
buy
of, though.
the salt barrel, we can't buy any of the
Yeah,
others,
I
which is fine, I think.
I'm leaning towards Purloiner simply because it makes a varied uh, set of wagon gear more valuable.
All right, that makes sense to me.
All right, we'll lock it in. I guess we'll buy the 4 for cat food now.
Yeah, we buy all 4 cat food then. I also see a clarifying poultice in the shop.
Yeah, we'll be
Which
carrying that with us for a long time.
yes, we're carrying that to the end of the
Yeah.
zone here.
So given that we know that we're getting the road gear, do we want to lock in the salt and start trying to stack it?
I think the salt is worth having. Just even a few packs of salt, an extra 10% healing is pretty substantial.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And like the problem with the the bag, which is a cool item, is that it's supposed to synergize with another piece of medical gear.
Yeah.
So it's less appealing for what we're specifically doing here.
Get them on now.
Kitty cat in, salt barrel in.
And then
Those feel good.
Jump back to our provision. Wait, sorry, I thought these went full for a second there. Now, if we're looking to do the layer on the first one, I'm assuming we want to eat up.
Yeah, we need the food.
So we grab all the food.
Yep, all the food. We're lucky that it's relatively cheap.
And then I'm assuming we want to chuck the apples and cheese on our Vestal.
Yeah, I think so.
In terms of speed,
we want Kiryu going first.
Yeah, then my only worry is we want to try and get rid of that negative quirk, which I don't see anything available for it. I'd maybe suggest we try and save 16 so we can, if we see a hospital, we can just nuke that negative quirk straight away.
Yeah, I unfortunately I don't think we can save the 16 because I think we need to buy both salt packets to get that buff running.
Do we not have a chance to generate salt as we go? Or am I misremembering that? Okay.
So that's a good point. You know, maybe we just save the other 20 in the hopes of finding a field hospital.
That's where I'm leaning, at least.
I think that's fine. I think that's sort of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other sort of thing. So we just slot the cat food on. I don't know. Probably the runaway, maybe.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We'll bonk it on.
I don't know that it matters.
And then the only trinket we have is a debuff resist. I'm probably going to suggest we put it here just to see if we can try and resist.
Yeah, give her a chance. We got to get rid of that soft too.
Yeah,
good lord.
She's not had a good time.
So what have you done to our poor grave robber?
Going into fanatic fearing as well. All right, cool. And then mastering I was about to hit. Let's go. Now, in terms of what might do the most for us, I mean, our Firefly, that's doubling the burn on them from the get-go.
I think that's
I
think Firefly and Incision both need their upgrades, and then I kind of want Battlefield Medicine to get its upgrade too.
Yeah, I don't dislike that. The pirouette we're always using. And thrown dagger is probably going to get a lot of use early as well. Lunge gets a very large damage increase here as well.
Yeah, that's why I'm still a little skeptical of pirouette, purely to make to let shadow fade into lunge be the play. But Hand of Light's definitely worth picking up. That random adjacent ally getting a I mean, it'll basically always be the Plague Doctor.
Second rank.
Yeah. And then I do like Mantra. I do like Mantra's upgrade just to give her a little bit more healing.
Yeah, also being able to spread it to those that use Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot of good hits. Now, given that we want to try and face the Dreaming General, is there anything in particular that we want to try and hit to make that fight easier?
We need the damage output. We need our damage output to be very high and very continuous. So I think Firefly for sure.
Sure, let's lock that
in. I think Cauterize actually gets its upgrade too, specifically for the Dreaming General fight, because he does do bleed damage, and this is a substantial. Actually, no, it's not. It's not enough.
I wouldn't say it's. I would say I'd rather put that on Battlefield Medicine.
Yeah, I think you're right. Right. I think Battlefield Medicine and Incision both get their upgrades here.
Yeah, the Killing Blow regen is going to just kind of help across the run.
Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade that's happening. And then I think the Grave Robber. I feel like we need to choose here. Are we committing to pirouetting, or are we shadow fading into big lunges?
So my only issue with relying too much on lunge is that we're going to want to try and have our runaway in position 3 for the backdrafts. So I feel like there's going to be times where we want to pirouette or shadow fade back and then stay there and throw in dagger. Good point. Yeah, I'm perhaps leaning towards like pirouette and thrown dagger if I had to pick 2 from here.
Well, I think let's go jump over to the Vestal real quick.
Sure. So Sanctuary with the Sanctuary Mantra.
I do like Mantra, but what about Sanctuary? I do think Sanctuary actually gets its upgrade.
Sure.
That's a pretty substantial improve of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The tanking.
And like I said before, not as familiar with a tanking Vestal, so yeah. I can definitely see like this is one of those enablers. Just
yeah, and I think actually longer. The other one is Hand of Light. Okay, I think what in the reasoning here is that Hand of Light lets the Vestal tank more and more with Sanctuary, while also we're sacrificing the Grave Robber's damage output because she's probably going to be spamming flashing daggers and thrown dagger to keep the boss down.
Oh, we've missed something very important. Recent edition.
Oh yeah, we can have the skins.
Would you like the skins on anyone?
Of course. We may as well have them all.
All of them. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Oh yeah. There we go.
She looks huge.
That's the squad. That is the squad right there.
All right, we're ready.
All right, let's check our in items before we commit.
Yeah, good point. So we have speed. So we could put that on Grave Robber just to lock it in, but I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that's perhaps kind of key.
I think we can just save it for a zone. Yeah. I think we'll be okay.
Agreed. All right, cool. Let's go.
Let's hit it.
Journey onward. Nothing to report. And yeah, I guess we'll call it
do a quick. Yep, there we go. Thank you all for watching.